Hey guys, how's it going? This is Seth Duran, and I just wanted to make a quick video to show you how to use the Google API commands. So for instance, we have our Gmail commands here, and to get it started, you have to use this connect to Gmail command. And when you drag this over, you'll see that you'll have a field for client ID, and then you'll have another one for client secret. All right, so what are these and where do you get them? Well, let me show you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over and I'm going to look for Google Developer Console. And it's just this first one right here. Alright, and we load this page, and if you don't have any projects yet, then this will just be blank, or it'll say create a project. And you can either click that, or you can click up here, hit the arrow, and say new project. And let's just call this my bot. And I'm going to click create, and I'm going to go back up here now and make sure that I have this selected. And once that loads, we get this message up here. It says that we haven't added any APIs to use yet. To get started, click Enable APIs and Services or go to the API library. Alright, so let's go up here to this big blue button that says Enable APIs and Services. Now, Google has a lot of APIs, but we're only interested in a couple right now. And for right now, let's just look at Gmail. Alright, and here's the Gmail API. We're just going to click that. And we're going to say Enable. Alright, cool, and that's enabled for us. And our next step is going to be to go over to Credentials, and we're going to create an OAuth 2 API client. So I'm going to go up here to Create Credentials. I'm going to say OAuth Client ID. Now, in order to create our OAuth Client ID, we must first set a product name on the consent screen. So let's go ahead and click Configure Consent Screen, and we're going to make this external. If you have G Suite and you have an organization, then you can try internal, but otherwise, let's click create. All right, so let's fill this out. This can be the name of the project you're working on. We're just going to say my bot. User support email. This is going to give you a drop down, and you just select whatever it gives you there. These are not mandatory. You can either fill them out or not. For email addresses, you can go ahead and put whatever email you want to use here. And click Save and Continue. And now we're going to set up our scopes. So let's click this button that says Add or Remove Scopes. And here we're just going to pick these top two. And we're going to click this one here that says Gmail API. And this is to read, compose, send, and permanently delete all your email from Gmail. So basically all this is saying is that you're giving your bot permission to actually log into your email and do what you want it to do in there. Okay, so for now that's all we need. Okay, then you get this pop-up that says verification required, and it lets you know that if you wanted to sell your bot, then you would have to go through this independent security review, which can cost $15,000 to $75,000. Well, good news for you, as long as you're not trying to sell your bot and you're just using this for your own purposes, this is not a concern to you and you can completely disregard it. Alright, so let's go ahead and continue. And we'll scroll to the bottom of this and click Save and Continue. Alright, now we have optional info, and I am not going to fill any of that out. I'm going to say Save and Continue. And now we're looking at the summary. And from here we can just click Back to Dashboard. Alright, so it's going to keep bugging you about this verification status. Of course, Google would love to get that $15,000 to $75,000 out of you. But again, if you're just using this for your own purposes, then you don't need to worry about that, and it's perfectly usable just the way it is. So now we can go back to Credentials, and we're going to say Create Credentials. We're going to go down to OAuth Client ID. We're going to go to Application Type, and this is a desktop app. Let's name it. We're going to call it My Bot, and click Create. Okay, so we can see again that it's bugging us to try and verify. The way this is worded is a little bit confusing, and I had to dig around on Google before I could find out what it actually meant. But what it's saying is that you can only have 100 different people log in. So again, as long as this is just you for your own purposes, this is not going to be a limitation for you. Alright, so here we have our client ID and our client secret. So now I can take this and copy it and go into my bot and paste this information. And let's grab the other one and put that here. Alright, now you should write these down and keep them somewhere safe, but also something good to know is that UBot Studio will actually save this information for you. Alright, so I can delete this node, and if I drag another one, then it has the information, because we figure it's probably going to be the same every time you use it, and if it's not, you can always just replace it. Okay, so in this tutorial, I'm just going over how to actually get these numbers. One more thing I want to show you really quick. We only enabled the library for Gmail, but if we want to also use Google Sheets, then we're going to have to enable the library for Google Sheets as well. So let's go back to our project real quick, and as long as we have these, we can click OK on that now. And we're going to go back up here to library, and now we're going to look for Sheets. We're going to enable that. And Sheets, it turns out, also depends on Drive. So back at our API library, let's go to Drive. Enable that. And now that we have those, we want to set up our scopes again. So let's click here again. This takes us back to our home screen, and go back to the OAuth consent screen. And we are going to take another look at our scopes. So let's go ahead and say Edit App. And we already did all this, so save and continue. And now say Add or Remove Scopes. And here's our Gmail stuff, and because we added Drive and Sheets, we should see those too. Alright, and these two look like the one we want. They look identical, but this one says Docs, this one says Drive. I don't know why that is, but I'm going to go ahead and select Drive, and we're going to keep looking for Sheets. And there we go, we have Google Sheets API, check that, and update. Save and continue, and back to dashboard. Alright, so you should be all set up both for Gmail and Google Sheets. And there's one last thing I want to show you, and that is what happens when you actually run this. And when I click run, it's going to load Chrome for me, and it's going to ask me to choose an account. Of course, it's doing this because I'm logged in with multiple accounts on Google. If you're only logged into one account, then you might see something different. But I'm going to go ahead and select an account here. Alright, now it takes you to this scary screen right here. It's showing you this because Google really wants you to pay that $15,000 to $75,000. So all this is saying is that you didn't go through their crazy verification process, you didn't give them a bunch of money, and that you should only proceed if you know and trust the developer. In this case, the developer is you, and as long as you know and trust yourself, then you should be fine. So we're going to go down here to Advanced, and then we're going to click this link that says Go to My Bot. Unsafe. Ooh. Alright, so now it's asking for the specific permissions for the API that we're trying to access, which in this case is Gmail. And we are going to say allow, and we're going to say allow again. Alright, and this confirms the choices, and one more time we're going to click allow, and here we have the authentication flow has completed. We can now go back to UBot Studio, and this will just work. We can send Gmail, and it's actually going to save the authentication to your system, so if I click run again, it's going to authenticate, but it's not actually going to show me that authentication screen again. Alright, I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to try to connect to Google Sheets now. Alright guys, so there it is. That's all you have to do. I know this is a little bit messy. Basically, Google has had some problems with their security in the past, and they're just trying to be really, really careful to keep you guys safe and make $15,000 to $75,000 off of you. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.